The morning light spread through the crystal towers of the Aurelian capital. Ethan woke to a soft tone coming from the ceiling, the signal that the palace day had begun. His room shimmered with calm blue light, and every surface adjusted itself as if the building was alive. It still amazed him how silent everything was. Even the machines moved without a sound. He stepped out to find Lyra waiting in the corridor. She was not supposed to be there, but her curiosity often overruled rules. Her silver hair caught the sunlight like liquid glass. "You said last night that humans see stars as dreams," she said quietly. "Can you explain it again?" Ethan smiled. "Dreams are hopes. They are things we reach for even when they seem impossible." Lyra walked beside him through the corridor, trying to understand. "We do not have dreams," she said. "We have purpose. It is assigned from birth." "That sounds heavy," Ethan said softly. "But maybe you can change that." She looked at him as if he had said something dangerous. "Change is not allowed for our kind." Later they met Soraya in the palace garden, though calling it a garden was strange. It was filled with glowing plants that never needed care, each arranged in perfect order. There were no scents, no movement, only precision. Ethan bent down and touched one of the flowers. It was cool, almost metallic. "Do you ever wonder what it would be like to have real plants?" he asked. Soraya answered without emotion. "Organic life decays. Artificial design lasts forever." Ethan smiled faintly. "Sometimes the beauty is in the way it fades." The twins exchanged a silent look. They did not understand, but something in Ethan's words stayed in their minds. Later that day, Lyra secretly searched the palace database for organic gardens, something she had never done before. When she saw pictures of Earth's forests and rivers, she stared for hours. The colors felt wild and wrong, yet she could not stop looking. That evening, Ethan was invited to speak before the Council of Advisors. It was meant to be a simple cultural exchange, but every question felt like a test. The counselors asked him to explain how humans survived wars, how they made peace, and why they wasted time on things like art or love. Ethan answered honestly, but he could feel their disapproval. "Emotion leads to chaos," one advisor said coldly. "Your kind chooses suffering when logic could end it." Ethan took a slow breath. "Maybe, but without emotion, there's no joy either. We build, we fight, and we fall, but we also dream. And that's what keeps us moving forward." The counselors whispered among themselves. Some looked disturbed. Others seemed curious. But Soraya and Lyra watched him silently, their eyes brighter than before. After the meeting, Soraya found him standing by the observation deck again. She crossed her arms. "You speak boldly for someone surrounded by an empire that could erase him." Ethan turned, smiling softly. "I trust that you won't let them." Soraya's face stayed calm, but something flickered in her gaze. She looked out at the horizon where the twin suns were setting behind silver clouds. "You risk much for your beliefs," she said. "Beliefs are all we have," Ethan replied. "They make us human." There was silence between them for a while. Then Soraya spoke in a quieter tone. "My people see emotion as a sickness, but I watched Lyra today. She smiled when she saw you." Ethan's expression softened. "Maybe that's not sickness. Maybe it's healing." Soraya said nothing. She turned and left, but her steps were slower than usual. That night, Lyra visited Ethan again, bringing a small crystal sphere. "It is a memory recorder," she said. "I want to see something new." Ethan activated his holographic device and projected an image of an Earth sunrise. The twin princesses had never seen such colors, gold, pink, orange, all moving and changing across a sky filled with clouds. Lyra reached out, touching the light with trembling fingers. "It moves," she whispered. "It's called wind," Ethan explained. "It carries the scent of life." Soraya stood at the edge of the projection, her voice softer now. "Why do you show us this?" "Because you've never seen it," Ethan said. "And everyone deserves to see something beautiful at least once." Lyra's eyes glistened, though she did not understand why. "Beautiful," she repeated slowly, as if the word was new to her. Soraya finally looked at him, and for a brief moment her expression was not cold.
"You are a strange creature, Ethan Cole," she said.
"You speak as if your heart controls your mind." Ethan laughed lightly. "Maybe that's what makes us human." After they left, the twins walked together. Part 1, 800 words. One glance at the Earthman sends the alien woman into a frenzy. The research ship Aurora 5 drifted through the purple clouds of Virelia Prime, a planet glowing softly like a gem against the dark. Captain Ryan Cole stood at the main window, his reflection faint on the glass. He had been in space for years, but nothing looked like this world. It pulsed with strange light, and even the air shimmered when their scanners read it. Ryan had seen many alien worlds, but something about this one felt alive, like it was watching them back. The humans had come in peace. The Varelians had invited them for the first diplomatic exchange in history. Ryan was chosen because of his calm nature and his ability to understand alien psychology. He wore his clean gray uniform, the Earth insignia bright on his chest. His heart beat a little faster as their ship touched down on a landing platform made of glowing white stone. A soft blue mist surrounded them as the ramp lowered. Dozens of tall figures waited ahead, their silver eyes reflecting the ship's light. The aliens were graceful, their movements like water. Their armor shimmered with living patterns, and a strange humming filled the air, as if the planet itself was singing. Ryan walked slowly down the ramp, hands open to show he carried no weapon. He was followed by 2 crew members, but his attention was fixed on one figure standing at the front of the alien ranks. She was different from the others, her armor darker, her eyes brighter. Her name, as he would soon learn, was Commander Lizera. She was known across the system for her discipline and strength. But the moment her gaze met Ryan's, something inside her broke. The connection lasted only a second, but it hit her like lightning. Her body tensed, her breathing quickened, and her heart pounded violently in her chest. Every instinct screamed danger and something deeper, something she could not name. The humans stopped, noticing the sudden movement among the aliens. Ryan blinked, confused. He hadn't said a word. He had simply looked at her. Lysera stepped back, her glowing spear trembling in her hand. Her soldiers looked to her for orders, but she said nothing. Her eyes stayed locked on him, wide with disbelief. The Varelians whispered in their melodic tongue. Some began to kneel. Others stared at her in fear. One of them called for a healer, thinking she had been struck by some kind of weapon. But Ryan hadn't moved. He stood perfectly still, unsure what to do. Lysera tried to speak, but the words caught in her throat. Her vision blurred, colors spinning around her. She could hear the beating of her own heart louder than the crowd. It wasn't just panic. It was something deeper, older. Her mind fought against it, but her body refused to obey. She reached toward him, her hand trembling. "Stay," she whispered, but then her knees gave out. The alien guards rushed forward, catching her before she hit the ground. Energy rippled across the platform, flickering through the air. Ryan stepped forward in concern, but a dozen spears aimed at his chest stopped him in place. "She's reacting to you," one of the guards shouted in broken English. "What have you done?" Ryan raised his hands higher. "Nothing. I just looked at her," he said. His voice echoed through the air, sounding small against the alien city that rose behind them. Towers of glass and light, floating bridges and violet skies. Lysera's body glowed faintly as they carried her away. The light pulsed with her heartbeat, fading slowly. The guards formed a wall around her, keeping the humans back. Ryan wanted to help, but the tension in the air was too thick. The alien healers were shouting something urgent, and the rest of the Varelians watched in silence. Moments later, a translator stepped forward. She looked at Ryan, her expression unreadable. "The commander's life signs are unstable," she said. "Your presence caused a surge. You must come with us." Ryan didn't resist. He followed quietly, confusion twisting inside him. He had studied dozens of alien cultures, but he had never seen such a reaction. Behind him, the 2 crew members whispered nervously, but he ignored them. His mind stayed on the image of her eyes glowing like stars, her expression torn between shock and recognition. They led him into a circular chamber lined with floating crystals that pulsed with soft energy. The room smelled faintly like metal and rain. A tall alien wearing a white robe approached. "You are Captain Ryan Cole of Earth?" Ryan nodded. The alien's silver eyes narrowed. "Then you have brought something with you that should not exist." Ryan frowned. IR in silence. Lyra held the memory sphere close, replaying the image of the sunrise again and again. Soraya pretended not to care, but she found herself glancing at the light too. The warmth of it stayed in her thoughts long after it faded. In her private chamber later that night, Lyra looked out at the stars and whispered, "He showed us paradise." Soraya stood nearby, pretending not to hear. But her voice, barely above a whisper, replied, "And now we cannot forget it." Far across the palace, Ethan looked up at the same sky, unaware that the smallest gestures, a smile, a story, a glimpse of Earth, had already begun to change the hearts of an entire world. Lysera woke to the soft hum of machines and the faint shimmer of blue light around her. Her body felt heavy, like she had been underwater for hours. When she tried to move, the energy field around her bed pulsed, keeping her still. Voices murmured nearby, calm but worried. She opened her eyes and saw her healers, 3 of them, their silver eyes reflecting concern. One of them noticed she was awake and hurried to her side. "Commander, do not move," the healer said gently. "You suffered a severe neural reaction. We had to stabilize your life field." Lysera blinked slowly, confused. "Reaction to what?" she asked in a strained whisper. Her throat felt dry, her chest tight. "To the human," the healer said carefully. "To the Earthman." Her heart gave a sharp thump. Images flashed in her mind. The human's calm face, the strange warmth in his eyes, and the moment her vision had blurred. She clenched her hands. "That is impossible," she said. "No human could cause that." The healer exchanged a look with the others. "We have seen the scans, Commander. The moment you met his eyes, your biofield resonated with frequencies not recorded in any of our databases. It was as if your body recognized him." Lysera sat up despite the warning hum of the field. "Recognized him? I have never seen a human before." "That may not matter," another healer said. "This resonance may be ancient, something from before the split of species." She stared at them in disbelief. "You speak nonsense. I am Verelian. He is human. There can be no link." But as she said the words, she felt that same flutter in her chest again, that strange pull that made her uneasy. It was not fear. It was something she didn't want to name. Outside her chamber, guards stood watch, whispering rumors. Some said the human had cast a curse. Others said he carried the blood of the old gods. The council had ordered him under watch, confined to a small observation room in the upper tower. Hours later, Lysera requested to see him. The healers tried to stop her, but she ignored them. She needed answers. The walk through the crystal corridors felt longer than usual. The palace pulsed with quiet light, every wall alive with faint patterns that moved like flowing water. When she reached the observation deck, she paused outside the transparent barrier separating her from the human. Ryan Cole sat by the window, his back to her. He was looking out at the alien city, towers floating above silver rivers, lights drifting like stars. His posture was calm, patient. He turned slightly when he noticed her reflection. "Commander Lysera," he said politely. "I'm glad you're alive." His voice was steady, calm, almost too calm. Lysera stepped closer, her eyes narrowing. "You will explain what you did to me?" Ryan frowned. "I didn't do anything. I just looked at you, that's all." "Lies," she said softly. "No one reacts like that to a glance." My body nearly shut down. "You must have triggered something." Ryan shook his head. "I wish I knew how. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. On Earth, eye contact is just normal." She stared at him for a long time. There was no fear in his eyes, no arrogance, no sign of deceit. Just honesty. It made her uneasy. The barrier shimmered faintly between them, humming like static. "Why did you come here?" she asked finally. Ryan sighed. "To make peace, to understand your people, to prove that humans aren't the monsters some of your historians think we are." His tone was quiet, but strong, and something about his words tugged at her chest again. She turned away, hiding her expression. "You should not look at me again," she said. "Whatever you are dangerous to me." "Then I won't," Ryan replied softly. "If my presence hurts you, I'll keep my distance." The sincerity in his voice made her pause. Few ever spoke to her that way. As commander, she was used to obedience, not kindness. As she left the chamber, her head spun with confusion. She walked through the glowing halls back toward her quarters, her footsteps echoing softly. She had faced warlords and rebels, survived storms and battles, but never had she felt so powerless. In her private room, she activated the security console. The screen filled with human data, recordings of their arrival, their ship, and the man called Captain Ryan Cole. She replayed the moment he stepped off the ramp, freezing it right when his eyes met hers. Even through the image, her chest tightened again. She pressed her hand against her heart, annoyed. "What are you?" she whispered. Elsewhere in the city, the council gathered in the grand hall. They watched the same footage. The eldest among them, a figure named Serath, spoke first. "The commander's reaction is no coincidence. The human carries the pattern, the starborn frequency." The others murmured. One asked, "That legend is myth. The starborn were said to shape our ancestors' minds long before the stars opened." Serath nodded slowly. "And yet the pattern returns now. The prophecy spoke of a time when a foreign soul would awaken our dormant code." Ryan, unaware of the conversation, sat quietly in his room. He studied the stars outside the window. Part of him felt watched, but he couldn't shake the image of the alien woman collapsing after looking at him. He replayed it in his mind again and again, wondering if there was something more, something written in the silence between them. As the night deepened, faint waves of light began to ripple across the city, unseen by human eyes. Deep below the palace, ancient structures powered on for the first time in thousands of years. The hum of forgotten machines filled the earth, answering a signal neither of them yet understood. Lysera, unable to sleep, stood on her balcony. The wind brushed her silver hair as she looked at the same stars Ryan watched from his room. 2 worlds apart, yet bound by a single impossible glance. And somewhere in the darkness, something old and waiting whispered to itself, "They have met again."